Welcome, everyone. We are live here at DPW. My name is Chris Sawchuck. I'm a principal at the Hackett Group, and I'm joined this morning by Olivier, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, Olivier. I've known you for a bit of time, but I still can't pronounce it. Maybe I'll let you pronounce your name. But Olivier is the CEO of Synertrade.
Thank you, Chris. How everybody? Live from DPW today. Yeah, Olivier Berrouiguet. It's a French name, a bit tough to pronounce.
I still
in
can't
English.
do it.
Yeah, Olivier is fine for me. Very nice and excited to be here with you today.
Well, you know what, Olivier, a lot of folks may not really know a lot about Synertrade or even a little bit about your background. Maybe we could just start with, Synertrade. Maybe give us a little bit of background in terms of the company itself.
Yeah, with great pleasure. So Synertrade has been there since quite a long time. We started like 20 years ago plus as a Franco-German company in the procurement space.
Yeah.
We've been there since 20 years, focusing in the beginning of the history of the company on the upstream part, the S2C, the SRM part, how engage with suppliers, how to select them, how to know them better. That has been the DNA of the company since the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we became a larger player in terms of solution with our P2P solution that we started 10 years ago. So that's Synertrade as an S2P, source to pay actor in this industry since 20 years.
Yeah. Well, I just want to ask you one real quick thing. You mentioned a Franco-German company. What does that mean? So, you got two headquarters, or what's going on?
It's possible. You can see Airbus has been like that for many years.
Yeah.
It can work. So joke apart, it's been the one company in France that was born in end of the 90s.
Okay.
Working on e-auctions with a very strong idea of what should be the digitalization of auctions.
Yeah.
And another company in Germany that was working on the tenders and how to digitize tender in an efficient manner.
Okay.
And those two companies merged, and it became Synertrade since 20 years.
So synergistic between the two companies.
Exactly.
You've kept the name. So you came in, when was it? 2021 kind of time frame?
A bit more than 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
I joined the company. The company Synertrade belongs to a Cocom group.
Okay.
Since close to 10 years now, and 2.5 years, a bit more. Cocom asked me to take the lead and make the company better. It had some difficulties of management, to be saying blunt the truth, and I was asked to put things together, recruit a good team, and be successful again.
Yeah. So what when they came in and they asked you to go do it, what was your first thought of coming into this company? I mean, you came in and you had an opportunity to take a look around. What was your first perspective as you came in? Was it what you expected when they asked you to join?
Well, first of all, I found from a company perspective, a company that was, as I said, a bit poorly managed. So I had to secure, first of all, the customer satisfaction and the employee satisfaction. That was the really big priority for the first month, let's say. That what we achieved. But I would say about the procurement, I'm coming from another horizon, I would say.
Okay.
I've been in the e-health industry for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
The digital health industry has been quite very interesting to understand what means to digitize processes, to keep the human factor, whereas you want to automate some things. And somehow there's a lot of common points with what I see.
Yeah.
And I observed quickly that I thought it was kind of simple.
Yeah.
Procurement, okay, everybody can be a procurement guy or woman.
Yeah.
But very quickly I realized that there was a lot more complex than what I expected.
Yeah.
And the procurement leaders and people are facing really a lot of challenges that I did not suspect. And I think even inside the companies, a lot of people do not realize how complex it can quickly be. So that was really a positive shock, because I've been always very keen on trying to find ways to make complex simple. And it's always a long journey.
Yeah. And so that, when you came in, that whole complexity of what procurement is all about, once you learned it a little bit more, you even got more excited about actually getting involved in this.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we will probably talk about it, but the understanding what you need to do to have an execution of quality of a process of an action in procurement, very quickly you realize that it is multi-factor, people, actions, data to coordinate in order to have an efficient result. So a lot more, even at the beginning, excited by the challenges in this business.
So let me ask you this. We're here at DPW in Amsterdam. You've been walking around. There's just a multitude. I think somebody said there's 120 different solution providers that are out there. Does that seem a bit overwhelming to you? And I guess the question I always ask is, how do you differentiate yourself from the mass of all of the different providers in the space? And from a lot of perspectives, you look at the practitioners that come here, those procurement executives. How do they sort through all of that? How do they find Synertrade?
So first of all, I find it always positive that you have such a activity. Energy inside a sector like that. It's always a good news to have this kind of situation than the other way around. First of all, what is complex for people in this industry is to understand who does what really. Which is always, as you have a lot of new companies and new offers coming around, it's always a challenge. And even more important, how do you make those things work together? And that would be leading to my answer. I mean, we've been in this industry for many years, and we've been in the upstream part, the strategic parts, if we consider that compared to the P2P part, even if we do also now P2P services. But we've been in situation when we've seen that in order to execute complex or even sometimes simple actions, from the evaluation of the supplier to the proper management of the spend and the value creation, you need to coordinate, you need to put processes together, you need to think about your processes in an IT and digital way. And that's where we are aiming at differentiating ourselves. We've done that in the past already with our software, but we're working even more to offer to our customers and our future customers the fact that we speak the three languages, what I call the three languages. We speak procurement, and we want to be even better understanding procurement. I was surprised when I arrived to see a lot of vendors, including ourselves, not knowing enough what is procurement. Speaking digital.
And I agree that's important. I mean, you see a lot of folks that come in and they have a lot of technology, capability and knowledge, but being able to combine the knowledge of what is procurement all about, what is supply management about with the technology is very powerful.
It's key. If you just pick one language over the three, it doesn't work. So you need to understand digital, and all of these companies around and are fantastic opportunities to build very solid procurement information system. And last but not least, we talk about procurement information system. Personally, I do not believe that IT will disappear, replaced by digital. I've been starting my career out of IT and digital on chemistry and different kind of technologies in other industries. I started IT 17 years ago, and I've been shocked by the fact that it has been grounded on pillars that are going there to last. The way you build your information system has to be thought in adequation with your processes and the tools, softwares that you have today and tomorrow. And that's where all of this complex equation has to be going on together. That's our motto, that's our positioning, and that's how, hopefully a lot of people will consider us as a value added for their project and their challenges.
So when you came in, they asked you to come in. You came in from an industry that's not necessarily aligned to procurement. So this was new to you. What was the expectations? What was the company that you mentioned that brought you in?
Cocom. Cocom is the company that owns Synertrade. Well, the expectation is to, as a lot of a situation in this industry, to have grown-up companies who has profitable growth situation. And there was a lot of investment. And this is, I can see that with my former experience in digital health.
Yeah.
It's normal to have this type of maturity of a market where you see that some companies have to find their model to have a profitable growth situation, because you cannot be, investing in companies for decades.
Yeah.
So the major expectation of our parent company is that we're grown up and we're not in the investing phase, which is possible. It's required to find your sweet spot for your customers first, because customer king, and propose very clear value-added solution that they can value.
Yeah.
And my job is to dimension the team in order to reach this balance between the customer expectations and how we can deliver that being profitable.
Yeah. So as you look at that, and you started sharing a little bit about your vision for the company, take me from where you are to, when you came in the tail end 21, 22 kind of time frame to where we are today. What has been done, but what do you want the vision? We're sitting here having this same chat, 3 years from now at DPW. What is Synertrade delivering to all of these procurement practitioners that are in the marketplace today?
So my vision and wish for the company and my people working at Synertrade and the customers is to be able to put together the right set of tools, not only our software, to make their life easier. So seems easy to say, a bit more difficult to do.
Yeah.
Focusing on the source to pay processes. That even if a lot of digital solutions are going around, CPOs and procurement leaders will have to coordinate, execute all these different processes in order to add value to the stakeholders and the business they work with and for. So that's my first aim. That's why when we were able to do that, because we had to reorganize and clean and get the company stronger. But in end of last year, we decided to rebuild our software, keeping what is good. The software is quite rich in the SRM and the sourcing part. Quite known by some as one of the reference, as it is really rich. We keep that, and we change a lot of the other things, which means the architecture of the product, in order to make it open and data ready. I will develop that. It's not only AI ready, it's really data ready, which means the ability of the architecture of the software to communicate in and out with the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk a little bit about the data. Use the term data fabric. Yeah, and I want to understand that, because I'm sitting here at DPW. I've talked to a lot of organizations. I've sat in a lot of these conversations, and there's a lot of discussion around data.
Yeah.
But take me one step further and help me understand what a data fabric is.
Yeah. So quite quickly, we've observed with our technical team and our CTO that one of the challenge, or potentially one of the biggest challenge for procurement, is how do you manipulate data? How do you get information real time in data? It's not only procurement. I mean, all the industries have that, but it's particularly acute in procurement because of the diversity of information you need to have, you need to give, you need to share. So it's AI has been since a year now, because Gen AI 4.3, whatever. Put a lot of expectation and hope and hype in the sector a year ago. I think it's really good, and when you understand what it does, you cannot do everything. I used to say, to just push a bit the boundaries and say, if I have a screwdriver, will I be able to build a house? I don't think so. You need many tools, and you need a way to build a house. And this is what we face.
It's gonna be a small house.
Yeah, or very small, and even. So we decided to go back to basics. Keeping in mind that Gen AI is going to be absolutely critical for some of situations, such as document reading, document data extraction. And it's just a part of all the tools you need to have. And the next frontier is definitely the ability to have what the big IT companies, such as Google, such as Microsoft or Amazon describe as data fabric and in
Yeah.
the future data mesh. It's all about, with this new tool, you can manipulate data in a more open, easy way.
Yeah.
Let's not be too hype spirit.
Yeah.
It's going to be a journey, but there is a difference, a big gap between what was done in the past, where the data topic was really siloed in the company somewhere.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the,
you handle data,
you-
we're going to handle the technology, we're going to handle process, and it's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now it seems that because the complexity in this business procurement has grown up like hell.
Yeah.
I will not go on this topic, which is absolutely known by a lot of people in procurement. And because of the technology possibilities,
Yeah.
it's the perfect timing to make a lot more in terms of how you manage data to get the information at the right place at the right moment.
Yeah.
And it's not only a question of AI, it's larger, wider than that. And this is what we work on and we will propose to the market in the next month to come.
So the data fabric, so, is going back to highlight what you just said. One of the things, like you said, is you came to this company, what was really strong, and you highlighted, the supplier relationship management area,
Yep.
which I would argue is an area that is really in need of more enablement than what we are
Absolutely.
seeing today.
I can give you an example that we have in mind. If we think about SRM, in
Yeah.
the beginning, 3 years ago, when I started in this business, I thought, okay, relationship management, like CRM, like I had PRM in my former experience, patient relationship
Patient
management.
relationship
in
management.
medical.
Everything is RM. You got CRM,
Yeah.
you got patient, you got supplier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in fact, the R shifted 3-5 years ago in this
Yeah.
industry to risk.
Yeah.
And also to compliance and to third
Yeah.
parties. Again, more complexity.
Yeah.
So with the data fabric, we're going to work on one of very concrete example of how do we manage compliance?
Okay.
How do we manage compliance and risk, which means get the right data of, essential information that you need to provide as a procurement team from your suppliers to your compliance team, to
Yeah.
your stakeholders that need this information to work with the suppliers of the company. And it is not only one source of information. It has to be refreshed. It has to be
Yeah.
accurate. It has to be shared with a different set of people and stakeholders around the company.
Yeah.
Again, it's obvious that data management is absolutely pivot in the challenges and in the solution to bring.
Yeah. And I think, what you're talking about, the whole focus on the SRM, there's a lot of data out there, and so you're building on top of that. I know that, let me ask you this, and, I want to, you've talked about the SRM, you're talking about the data fabric and, not just data, but the architecture of how you're doing that, on a go forward as a foundation of this capability, this, in some way, this transformed company that you're building, on a go-forward basis, leveraging AI, et cetera. One of the things is I want to ask you is if we're, again, I mentioned earlier, if we're sitting here 3 years from now, let me ask you this. If we're sitting here 3 years from now, how will you define success?
I would like that we would be, first of all, we have more happy customers.
Okay.
Basic criteria to evaluate success. Second, our positioning on the market will be clear for a lot of people in this business.
Yeah.
Which will be, Synertrade, they know how to help us, CPOs and procurement leaders,
Yeah.
to build and run procurement IS platform with a lot of innovation around, and being one of the core system help us to make the execution of tasks a lot better.
Yeah.
Focusing on what we're good at, which means strategic procurement, and leaving a lot of tasks to their solution and how they can automate and help us to automate some tasks. And this is what we would like to be seen in 3 years from now as a reference for this kind of transformation journey that it is anyway going to happen for a lot of procurement teams in the future.
What's one last thing you want to leave the audience that has been listening in today?
So I would say come and see us. We're live, we're renewed, we're stronger than ever, and we definitely are convinced that we're going to bring solutions for a lot of procurement leaders in the future.
You know what I thought you were going to say? Moonshot.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's go moonshot, but with small steps.
Alrighty. Well, that's all the time we have. And Olivier, thank you for the insights you shared today. On not only how you've gotten from where you are into the company to into Synertrade, where you're headed, your vision for the company. Great insights. Thank you. And that's a wrap here at DPW.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you. Nice to be with you today. Bye bye. Thanks.